Hello and welcome to glennzb TV for Friday, the show that puts glennzb up your Periscope. I'm bringing New Zealand to the world, and the world to New Zealand. And oh man, it was with some relief this morning when I came in this morning. I mean, just between you and me, I'm not really a news junkie. I don't really follow it that closely. I mean, obviously I do when I'm here working on the Mike Hosking Breakfast on News Talk ZB. I mean, that's my job, to monitor things very closely. And I think it's for this reason that when I leave this building and I go home and I start drinking heavily and melting cheese on things, I spend less attention on the news and more attention on sort of B-grade science fiction movies. So often the first time I hear about anything or know that something's happening in the world is when I set foot in this building in the morning and there's a lot of TV screens around showing different news networks. And this morning I came in and there's a lot of Bob Dylan on the screens. Old Bob Dylan, recent Bob Dylan, archive footage, him getting awards for things. And I thought, ah shit, Bob's dead. But he wasn't dead. He just got a Nobel Prize for literature. So that was a relief. Sometimes I wonder if he's been dead for a while, to be honest. A few years back I went and saw him live. I don't know that he was that live. You know what I'm saying? Now, the Polish people have really stirred up a storm because there's some kind of trade negotiations that haven't gone very well with France. And the Poles have told the French that they owe them for teaching them how to use a knife and fork. So I don't know if that's actually true. I don't know if the Polish people taught the French people how to eat with cutlery, because it turns out, and this is according to the Smithsonian Institute, although the first forks were used in ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome, they were only used for cooking tools at that time. It wasn't until the Middle Ages that a smaller version was used for eating by wealthy families of the Middle East and Byzantine Europe. So not Poland. It doesn't say anything about Poland. That sounds sort of more like your Turkey, Syria, Persia kind of an area there. They're the fork people. So arithmetic and forks. Good work, Arabia. Hey, some stories speak for themselves, don't they? I'll just read this as it appears from our newsroom. The University of Canterbury's annual tea party is today. Last year's event saw a Christchurch man taken to hospital with serious injuries after falling through glass ahead of the party. An ambulance officer said at the time the man in his 20s had, quote, almost completely sliced his buttocks off, unquote. The sold-out event is notorious for drunken students dressing up in outrageous costumes celebrating the end of the academic year. So I guess, like I say, I don't know if I really can add anything to that. Try not to slice your buttocks off this year. Finally, I've been watching, obviously, a lot of Donald Trump stuff. And even just looking at it, without even listening to it or reading about it, just seeing the images, because now we've got a lot of images of women who are alleging certain things have happened with Donald Trump over the years. None of it particularly positive, to be honest. Alligators, as John Key would call them. Yeah, they're making allegations. And I just can't help thinking I've seen this somewhere before, where and of course, Donald Trump's come out and he's denied these outrageous allegations, said that they're absolutely not true. And I just feel like it reminds me of something, and I just can't quite put my finger. But I mean, obviously that didn't turn out to be anything. And obviously, having somebody, in that sort of presidential realm, specifically denying that any of it actually happened, there's just certain familiar feelings about it. And I'm not saying that necessarily means that this time round it's true, but I feel like it's a pattern of behaviour that possibly you could could be admissible in a court of law. I don't, you know, like a trend. I don't know. I'm starting to feel very uncomfortable anyway. I am glennzb. Thanks for having me up your Periscope. I'll see you back here again on Monday for episode 301. That's right, this is 300. Congratulations, everybody. Well done.